Talking about big events, some of the biggest names in world tennis hit the courts in Melbourne today as the 2019 Australian Open did get underway. And that means we all become tennis experts for the next fortnight, of course, including on the quirks of the stars on court. Apparently Novak Djokovic, get this, won't use the same shower twice in a row. Serena Williams doesn't change her socks when she's on a winning streak.
And Rafa Nadal has a, well, let's just call it a whole thing. He's got the security tag thing, he's got a thing with his water bottles, he picks wedgies between points, it's all part of the routine. He's got a very long list. For tonight's Taking Stock panel, we're calling this the Australian Open edition of Successful Habits for Highly Effective People. Welcome Shivani Gopal, CEO of The Remarkable Woman, and Scott Phillips from The Motley Fool. Good evening to both of you. I didn't know some of these. Chris reckons he knew about the dirty socks.
Well, I was
previously
completely fascinated and engrossed by this. Like,
he loved this story.
Rafael Nadal, when he walks in, he has to be carrying one racket. He can't step on any of the lines. You know, his ID pass has to be facing up. When he goes out to play, the water bottles have to be facing just the right way. It's very particular. Now, we know about superstition, of course. Superstition in sport is a very big thing. I mean, does it point to, I don't know, somebody who is... they all seem to do it, I guess, is what I'm getting at here. They've all got their own little quirks. So
and they're all highly successful.
Exactly.
Right?
So do we take something from this? Scott, what do you think?
By definition, with some water bottles on the front of the desk, we need to line them all up and we'll be much better.
Yes.
This is... sports people are amazing, right? This is kind of their thing. And, you know, it kind of has gone so much further, as you say, than the old days. The footy players wear the same pair of Speedos, and that'd be their lucky thing, right? They have the same gloves in the kit bag if they're playing cricket. To the extent they're going to now, especially Rafa, I mean, you know...
That's next level.
But he says it's not superstition. He said, you know, this is him getting in game mode, right? Which I kind of added a bit more, you know, weight to the whole thing when he put it like that.
I think that's right. Like, I get it. And we know the sports psychology is about imagining yourself doing the same routines, getting yourself in the zone. You see football players, goal kickers in rugby league in particular, the kind of the styles of kicking, the way they go about that. Again, they're very much that methodical approach. They visualise that they do exactly the same thing every time. It's apparently how the sports psychologists say we get the best out of ourselves. So I get the value of that. Rafa can't honestly believe all that stuff is necessary, though. There's a limit, right? At some level, do the you know, carry the tag or the water bottles or the racket or the wedgies if you have to. But at some point, all of them together every time, you start getting a little bit. I'm not going to say it's silly because that's his thing, and that's, you know, there's probably some obsessive compulsive kind of tendencies there. So that's probably just real for him. What I do like about it though is the sense that by getting ready the same way to do something, you put yourself in that mindset. I think the mindset piece is really, really important and really quite valuable. And I said, we know from sports psychology, that stuff really does work. It gets you in the zone and ready to perform at your best. And I guess at that level, at least, there's some value to it.
And Shivani, I mean, you do a lot of coaching, mentoring in so many different ways. Yeah. Is there a sane equivalent of this for business people? I mean, at what point, do you have too many things that it becomes a bit counterproductive as well? I think is maybe what you were saying, like when there's just too many things. How do you get that right balance? What do you say to people?
I'm thrilled we're talking about this because...
I know, we thought this was right up your alley.
I was so excited. Absolutely. You know, I mean, let's have a chat. You know, elite athletes are always the ones that are being the figureheads, right, of successful routines and norms. And I do have a saying around this, and that is that we have the power to set our routines, and our routines have the power to define our success. And if you think about it, that's what's happening here. He's got a routine that's going on, and it's the routine that centres you, it gets you into a state of mind, and it gives you a formula to follow that gets you ready for the day. So I actually have a routine that I do every single morning, and I follow it religiously. I wake up in the morning, I have a lukewarm glass of apple cider vinegar, which sets up my body for the day. It's also pretty sour, so it kind of gets me, you know, awake and going. And it also means if I need to do something really uncomfortable, I've done it already. I meditate. After I meditate, I do some mindfulness brain training. Gets me really focused. And then I go a little bit further as well, and I sit down and I plan out my day, because it's imperative that I'm in control of it and not the day being in control of me. And if you think about it, if elite athletes need a routine, a ritual to be ahead in the world, then how are we, mere mortals, any different? Right? We absolutely need to take some heed heed from that and go, well, we'll do something as well to make sure that we're successful, we're getting ahead of the game. Because you are right around sports psychology, but also around psychology of routine. So Mark Zuckerberg wears the same thing every single day. He wears a grey shirt and his jeans. Why? Because he doesn't have to think about it. You take things out that you don't need to think about, and you've got more brain space for the stuff that really matters. And that's the art and science of being successful.
Yeah, wow, that is a fantastically well thought through response. I'm so glad we're having this chat.
All the time. This is his job.
I know.
I'm check in on you tomorrow, Chris.
Please do.
I'm feeling really inferior right now. I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning kind of bleary-eyed, get out of bed and go, what was I supposed to do again? And then I'll go have a couple of coffees and then I'll maybe have some breakfast and then what was I supposed to do again? And then it'll be 10:30 and I won't have done anything. And I'll...
You know, I was just reading a blog, why this year is the year to just set your expectations so much lower so you meet them. And I thought, yeah, that is a good idea.
The miracle of low expectations. This side of the table, we'll go with low expectations.
No. I take all of Shivani's advice right on board. I think I need to have more of a start routine to my day.
It's funny, if you start your day right, they say win the morning, win the day. And if you do start your day right, you're saying I'm in control of my day and I am the creator of my day and my life, not the receiver of it. It's so important that you put yourself in the driver's seat.
Now, you mentioned Mark Zuckerberg taking the worry out of clothing for the day. Same outfit every single day. It's interesting because we saw some numbers today that shows 3/4 of women feel judged based on what they wear to work. 55% of men do. That was probably higher than I expected, to be honest. But this is new data. It shows women also spend longer considering what to wear at work, spend more money on work clothes. So all of that being a significant disadvantage, performance-wise, financially. What do you make of this? What is the expected dress code for women, if there is one? And is there one for men? What do we think? Shivani?
Yeah. The interesting thing around women and men is that women are judged more harshly for what they wear versus men. I mean, this is just a fact. And it stems from the regressive societal norms that are there, where women are more valued and judged first on their beauty and how they look, and their competence and value of what they add by skills and strengths second. So for that reason, is there a dress code of what women should wear versus what men should wear? I mean, sure, I think it differs for industry to industry. If you've got an industry that's, you know, more around startup and marketing, you could probably wear your jeans and get away with it. But at the same time, what sort of jeans? Women, again, are going to be judged more harshly around that. Is it too tight? Is it too high? Is it too low? And that's where some of that misrepresentation, you know, the bias, you know, starts to come into play. And there's science to this as well. In the 1990s, there was a study done, and nothing has changed since then, by a professor called Sandra Forsyth. And she actually looked at hundreds of respondents and said, let's get women into the room for interviews and let's judge what they're wearing. Let's not hear what they're saying. Let's just judge what they're wearing. And based on what they're wearing, you tell me if they're going to get the job. And based on what women were wearing, what's really interesting was the more masculine the woman's outfit, the more competent she was perceived to be. The more feminine, so you're probably going to ask what's masculine and what's feminine. So masculine being straight, bold lines, angular dresses, block colours like you and I are wearing, funnily enough. Were actually seen to be more masculine. If you're wearing more curvy colours, frills, florals, patterns, you were seen to be more feminine. And if you were seen to be more feminine, guess what? Not only were you judged for it, you were seen to be less competent. I have some good news, though, on the balance of scales. Men who go out to parties and work parties, if you're holding a beer, you're seen to be less competent than those that aren't. So there are rules, but women are more scrutinised for them.
Okay.
Very interesting.
You want to add anything?
If I'd known that, I would have bought a prop with a beer just sitting it. No, I think it's, you know, so you talk about dress codes. I think the interesting thing is there's more of a firm dress code for blokes. You know, Chris and I both wear a suit jacket. I'm wearing jeans under the table. But you know, that idea, I think it makes it less different day to day. You know, the whole Carl Stefanovic story of wearing the same jacket for a year, nobody noticed. It tends to be the case, right? Women tend to wear different clothes more regularly, and so that is more noticeable and more noticed and then more remarked upon. So I know for myself, I will notice, particularly with Brooke or Shivani, what you're wearing. I won't notice what Chris is wearing so much because he's wearing the same, effectively, uniform. He always looks great, but he's wearing the same uniform every day, right? And so, to some degree, it's more noticed and noticeable. Now, that's not the excuse, by the way. So, you know, the bias we need to overcome and remove that subconscious bias from ourselves and get that right. But at some level, I've guilty, and I actually asked Shivani a couple of weeks ago off air, I said, what is appropriate to remark on particularly a lady's dress or clothes? I wouldn't do it to Chris because I wouldn't notice it. So where does that sit on that line of kind of bias and prejudice and sexism? Am I doing the wrong thing by noticing?
Or you're lovely today or something, whereas you wouldn't say it to Chris.
Or I like that colour or whatever it is.
Yep.
And again, completely innocently with no agenda whatsoever. But the same question still applies of, is that even an okay thing to do? I actually don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
That's why I asked Shivani, because she knows these things, would say,
is there an answer?
What do I do?
Yeah, there is. It's always about your intent. Always check your intent and think about, am I saying this as a genuine workplace compliment or am I saying it because I feel attracted to this person?
Yeah,
you think you're feeling attracted to this person, just don't say it.
Think about what
just move away, back away, know better. But if you think, hey, that's a great colour on you, Brooke, I think that's a wonderful thing to say. Acknowledge that there's nothing, discriminatory about that whatsoever. Just make sure you do it in the right tone, in the right body language, with the right intent.
All right, there's a new mobile phone game hitting the App Store. You've had a preview already tonight. We don't need to go too much into the details, but Clive Palmer's behind it. I was interested that he partly bankrolled it, which means someone else wanted to put money into this. Okay, so you get Tim Tams, you squash Labor cockroaches, this kind of thing. This is Australian Politics 2019. Welcome to the year, people. We have so much to look forward to, don't you think, Scott Phillips?
This is kind of... I can't even criticise Clive Palmer. He's taken the political environment and actually literally accurately represented it in a game.
Yeah,
this is the craziness of politics in 2019.
Game.
Right,
Exactly.
it's not like he's taking something serious and gone, this is working really, really well, let's try and make it funny. He's kind of gone, how do you parody something that is already so crazily ridiculous? He's kind of in that space. We look at it and go, oh, OK, fair enough. No one's genuinely shocked. I mean, he's funny because it's Clive Palmer and Clive Palmer's Clive Palmer, right?
Yeah.
I should say, hot on the heels of our Bob Catter conversation last week, there's something about Queensland politicians, which was...
This is Bob Catter saying kids should get an air rifle to shoot cane toes for 40 cents each, because it's a good way to learn about pocket money.
I love our Queensland viewers, but something going on with Queensland politicians right now we need to try and work out. I don't know. I mean, this is the problem.
Hey, they win or lose elections, right? So we shouldn't laugh.
And they're serious power brokers. These are the guys sitting on the crossbenches in Parliament. So maybe the Queenslanders are better at realising what's going on with the rest of the country, saying, we're not going to vote for either you two knuckleheads. We're going to vote for someone different who's going to shake things up. I can't fault that, right? This is the kind of political environment we find ourselves in. They're all a little bit mad.
I'm just waiting for someone in corporate Australia to do the same thing, a parody of what's going on in corporate Australia. They wouldn't be allowed to do it, would they?
You've painted the idea. If anyone does it now, Brooke, you get a share of the proceeds.
Thank you.
There's got to be a real commission game somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I know. The banking game's got to be there somewhere.
Players the council assisting. You just terrify them.
I like that.
Unbelievable.
Shocking all the game.
You never really know what Clive Palmer's going to spend his money on next. I mean, this is the guy who bankrolled the Titanic remake, the dinosaur theme park. Now there's a game. I mean, this is wild. He's a politician. What did you think when you saw this app coming out?
First of all, I thought he was crazy. And then I thought, goodness, I thought two things, actually. You're obviously reading business trends and going, OK, so the gaming industry's up, and I see some trends there. Millennials do a lot of gaming. Great market. You know, I'm going to solve that problem. So he's thinking about it in a very economical sense that way. But I also think he's making an absolute mockery of our political institution, and it's hilarious, it's crazy, and it really shouldn't be done. But a bit of comic relief, perhaps. But
in kind of Trump style, maybe he's actually, maybe he's actually onto something, and we're all clicking in on it. We're all talking about it, right? Just as stupid as you say it is, we're just as stupid for just falling right into the trap of talking about it and giving him the attention that he wants for it, right? Look over here, there's an app. Let's not talk about policies or, actual stuff that we need to talk about.
The latest billboard I saw on the way up the freeway from my way the other day is he's saying a very fast train, no traffic, and something else he's going to solve. No how. No. Just a straight out, I'll give you a fast train, I'll solve the traffic problems and whatever else the other thing was. You might as well promise anything, right? You might as well promise anything. At some level, $1 million for everybody, the sun's going to shine, and whatever else you want. Just throw stuff on a billboard. That's what it's come to now.
King of rhetoric.
Yeah, right.
Headline, don't ask me how or
exactly.
why.
Yes, but this is something we've seen all over the world,
and it is
dominating headlines everywhere because, it seems like they're somehow onto something. Thank you so much, Scott Phillips and Shivani Gopal. Fantastic as always.